Okay, so for multiplayer missions, we'd have all this extra stuff that we would need. Oh man, that changes our entire results, doesn't it? Because it's not just a user ID, it's like a list of user IDs. Okay, so this actually changes this guy. We need a result ID. And basically, that would mean, yeah, okay, so here we go. This is why we do these things. So the result actually would historical results storage, username, port time, result name. All right. So if we had a result ID here, what that would allow us to do would be basically we'd have all three of these guys. So if like they won a match, a mission, since they're all the same result ID, and we'd have a compound key here with result ID, user ID, with our stat value. So we'd be able to match on result IDs and trim like the top 10 based on all that. So we could kind of combine all of them. Okay, so we'd go to the online missions. We would see a list of available missions, and we'd also see if there were man, this pen is broken to fuck. And if people are currently queuing for missions, you would see like, okay, there's 2 out of 3 people currently queuing for this. Would you like to join them? You could click yes. Would we be able to start a custom queue and invite people to it? Would we be able to talk with those other people? Well, that would be ideal, but we can just start it off with what we've got. You'd register for the mission, you would then wait, you'd get notifications on player join and left and status. It would then start your mission. You would all join the mission lobby. Once everybody had joined the mission would count down and start. And then you would go through. If somebody dropped out, would they be able to rejoin the mission? If somebody drops, probably at mission results, it would kick you out. So let's just have another flow here for mission results. If you like player drops. So after the mission ends, you would go back to just go back to the online mission screen. And this might be frustrating for people if we actually had a lot of people playing the game, one of their friends drops out, and then there's no way to get those 3 people back together for a mission. So this will be solved by having registry be public or private and all that stuff later. We don't need that to start with, though. We can just make some multiplayer missions. Okay, so the next thing that we have to worry about is the actual technical flow. Because basically how this is going to work is we've got our client A, we've got client B, we've got our game server, and we've also got our game server watchdog. We have our app server, we've got our relay system, and we also have our matchmaking, because we're going to need a matchmaking service. Okay, so this is kind of what our system is going to look like overall for this sort of thing. We do need a matchmaking server for this. Thankfully, we have the relay system for push notifications and everything like that. But let's think about it. Do we have a distributed key cache? Ah, shit. I need the distributed key cache for this, don't I? The distributed key cache is basically if we have a party or a matchmaking session, we need a way to invalidate that and push out updates for everything. So basically we need the distributed key cache. Son of a bitch. And that also means we need the key cache queue. There's a lot of lines. It's a lot of lines. Okay, so what are the steps here for actually doing this? So for join flow, it's going to be client A fetches current match current parties. Okay, so we need to actually make a party which is specific to this. So we need a way to search fucking parties? Ah, Jesus Christ. I mean, would it just be easier to make a damned invite system than any of this? Well, we need a discoverability system for invites. So I think this is an easier way to do it, but we need to actually have a list of parties somewhere that are available for you to join. And let's see, we need, so what does a party look like? Hello, Sir Dies-a-Lot. I am currently working on a gigantic design for the project at the moment for mission systems and result stats for kind of a mission system and a meta progression system. So basically what you'd be able to do is there's a series of challenges. You can earn different ratings on them, such as like gold, silver, diamond, or whatever. These missions have specific game options, such as, you know, a number of bots that you have to fight against. They have victory conditions and defeat conditions, and kind of the entire design from concept, implementation, data structures to implement it, how we make missions in the editor, how we deploy those missions to our online environments, and I'm finally on the system where I'm trying to figure out multiplayer missions. So it's an online multiplayer game, so if we want to have multiplayer missions, like there's a 2-person mission, it's 2 people versus like 5 bots, you have to beat them in 30 seconds. We need a way for you to like register for the mission, and it's more complicated than that because 2 normal clients aren't going to be able to connect to each other most of the time because of port forwarding and other technical constraints. So we actually have to have our dynamic dedicated game servers and a whole party and matchmaking system for this thing. So right now I'm trying to figure out how parties, how they fucking work, and that's, Jesus. Alright, so it'll have a party ID, because not only do we have to fetch parties, we're going to need our members, which will be our users and everything else. We're going to have our search tags. How are we going to search for this crap? Like, if we have to search this, it has to be in some sort of searchable form, like in a database. Fuck. This is a problem. I don't have a good place to put this. Alright, so, I mean, I've got to have search tags, I've got to have a list of members, a party ID. How would I do this? Well, if I was going to do the enterprise version of this, I'd just put up Elasticsearch, have parties in Elasticsearch, and do that sort of stuff. Ah, you're sick, and I assume you're in college, and not all your lectures are online? Yeah, that is unfortunate. And being sick sucks just in general, so I hope you feel better. So there's a couple of things that's kind of nasty about this whole party system is that I need to be able to actually search it. And that means it's not just like some ephemeral data cache system. I need an actual search data structure, and I need to put it in a database. And that also means that I have to deal with stuff like drops. So like if the app server, if you drop your connection to the online platform, we need to remove you from the party. But it's even worse than that because the app server that you are connected to might go down, and the entry in the database for this party will stay there forever. It'll just stick around and do nothing for us for, until the end of time. So we need to handle all the edge cases with platform disconnection, with parties not being there. High school still? Yeah. Yeah. When I was in high school, there was nothing online. Good luck. If you were sick, you were sick. That was it. So what I need is a system that will clean up parties automatically, and so they'll disappear, but then they'll still be searchable while they exist. So what would the idea be? So how do we nicely clean this up? So if this is just in the party database, we can have, because we have a list of members here, okay, so if we had a party, so a party is this sort of thing. It's got search tags. So we could basically have a party array here, and then we could have a party member thing as well. So it would be like party ID, and then a user ID, and we could also have app server ID. So that's basically where they're connected and all that, and maybe a last connected time? No. Okay, so for party cleanup, basically what would happen would be is our app master would know all the app server IDs that are online, so it would look at app servers. I guess we'd also need a registration time. Yeah, this is server engineering. Like, this is in a database. Like, this is a game client. This is another game client. This is off on a dedicated host in like Rackspace or Amazon Web Services. This is our backend online platform, which has various sub-services like our matchmaker, our relay service. Relay is for like sending messages. So like I can send a message to a user saying like, your match is finished being made. The game server is over on, this host on AWS. Go join it. Here's the secret key to join. So I have to make like a real system for this, since online game is there. No wonder this rang a bell. Yeah. So I mean, to put it like, if I'm like, I need parties and party members. Like, this is what Xbox Live does, right? So this is not a simple problem to solve. Otherwise, why would things like Xbox Live or PSN or, why would these companies make these systems for developers? But since I'm on my own and I don't want to rely on all those systems, I don't have those. So if we have a party member, user ID, app server ID, creation time. So for party cleanup, the app server master will it'll grab active app server IDs. We're going to grab unique app server IDs in party member list. Let's see. See which app servers are still online. And delete everything that's not there. So delete all members not present, and then fetch all parties which have no members, and delete those. Delete those parties. This has some race conditions though, because so a person could swap to another app server ID. This would remove the registrations. That's fine. But basically, if a player joined a party in between us fetching all parties with no members and deleting those parties, we would, like, this wouldn't work. So we'd have to do like a transactional DB call right here. Can we even do that? Let's think about it. Otherwise, we're gonna delete a party that has party members in it, and that's not gonna be any good for anybody. So if we could do this in a transactional DB call, that's going to be select. This will be delete from party where party member count is 0 and party exists. Alright, so it'll be like join on the party ID, delete if count of party member is 0. Can that be done in a delete from where inner join there is nothing on the party member? Alright, yeah, so we can actually do this in a single delete call. So we don't actually have to fetch all parties which have no members. We just call to delete parties with a join on party ID for members. So the other question would be, if a player joins a party while it's getting deleted, so we are running our delete call, but some server loaded the party using the search tags and is adding this user to it and wants to save back the party member. We would want to have a check and set value right here on this guy, and we basically update the check and set and use optimistic locking to update the party. So if this guy went in and deleted it, our check and set value would do that. And we'd have to do a transactional database call for the insert because they're two different tables. Well, that's okay. Because basically this can be, party cleanup can take a while. The other thing is perhaps we don't need to clean up the parties? Let me think about that. So instead of this being a party, no, because we need to join things in progress. You plan on majoring in computer engineering in college? Well, I went to I'm a comp sci major. I went to a game programming college and in Washington, and that's kind of what I did. So CE, I think, is more embedded systems and like physical stuff. Like the CE guys at my college built, like their senior project was actually building a handheld gaming device and writing a game for it. So they had an actual physical, like, a 3DS sort of console, and they had accelerometers on it, and they had a game that did cloth physics based on like you shaking this thing around and hitting buttons and all this sort of stuff. But I found a lot of people didn't like computer engineering based on just the amount of electricity and different service diagrams and stuff like that. So I'd say know what you're getting into. If you like building robots and real physical stuff, CE is for you, but you're going to be doing a lot more physics and diagrams and theoretical bullshit than like a comp sci, which is more using software and the rest there with like big data structures and systems. Though for me specifically, I could definitely have seen myself taking CE as my major and building robots and crap like that, because the biggest the project in college I liked the most was when we made robot cars, and we had a microcontroller. So we had like a solderless breadboard on top with a PIC microcontroller. So you connected the pins in there, and then you wrote assembly code for this car, and you turned it on, and you could use the pulse width modulator to make the car move, to simulate the radio signal that it would have gotten otherwise, and steer it. And then we attached like infrared sensors to the front and back so it could see where it was going. And you had to do something special. So my special thing for my car was I strapped on a bunch of automatic airsoft guns to it, and hot wired them with some physical switches onto the breadboard. So you just pass 5 volts over out pin 5, and you're unloading a whole shitload of BBs into whatever's in front of your car. And that was cool because you get into stuff like I made an eye out of 3 light sensors that just pass voltages based on the amount of light coming in, and I just like put color filters in front of them, and then a 2 solo cups, and then like pinholes on the front of it for each of the light sensors, so we could actually see like basically what was in front of it in color. And so I set up an obstacle course with lighted targets, and this thing went around the obstacle course and shot all the all the red objects, and it would ignore all the blue and green objects. And that was pretty cool. So if we don't clean up our party, basically what that would be, because this is kind of like a global party search thing, like you're joining the first party. Basically how we search is we're like, okay, give me all the parties for mission 5 that are available, and it would return you the list of parties, and then you would join one. But really we only need parties that are we only have one party at a time, right? So you'd like click join, and you would either join the party or not. So do we need a party because if 3 out of 4 people were in there and 2 people came in, both click join at the same time, one of them wins, that party actually gets nuked. It stops being a searchable party and starts being an ephemeral party using a different thing. So it's like it's not a party. I mean, it is a party, but it's not like a joinable thing anymore, so we don't have to search it. So we get rid of all this crap and we only have one thing at a time. So if we had a party ID here, let me think. Most of your friends are majoring in comp sci. It's nice to have older friends. Yeah, that can definitely help out. Yeah, I went to DigiPen over in Redmond, Washington, which was a specific game programming school. And like I didn't go to a larger college like University of Washington, specifically because a lot of the larger colleges have you do a bunch of fluff courses, like, oh, we gotta go learn about glaciers and stupid shit that I really don't care about. So, because what I found at the larger colleges is, yeah, you got more of a well-rounded liberal arts education, but I didn't care about any of that. You're taking A push right now? What is A push? Oh, AP US history and all that stuff? Yeah, when I got out of high school, I had 10 of those AP tests finished with an average of like, 4.7 or whatever the hell back in 2006. So theoretically, like at University of Washington, they would have skipped me ahead 2 years straight into their electrical engineering and comp sci building, and I turned them down. It's like, nah, fuck you guys. I don't want to learn Java. I want to learn C++. And so I went to the other school. But what I found was those AP tests don't really get you out of a whole hell of a lot. It's kind of annoying. I was like, oh man, I took like, AP English, blah 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 classes and passed all these tests, and then the college is like, that's too bad. You're still gonna have to take the course anyway because reasons. Java's definitely not on its way out. Like all of Amazon is written in Java, and they're not moving. There's a good reason too. But I didn't want Java to be like the only language I knew. So, at least in the professional world, if you want a job, Java will get you a job. It doesn't matter. But if you know C++ and C, learning Java, using Python, using anything else is just not a problem because you're just like, oh, I don't have to worry about all this crap anymore? Awesome. So how would this work for the join? So we come in with a search and it says, okay, cool. And we read the party ID in the party members field, and there's 3 parties. There's 3 people in the party. So we check and set the right for the party, and then, oh man, this still has some race conditions I'm not super happy about. Like, we do check and set to delete all the party members and then send a message right to the distributed key cache with the formed party. Send the message to all the clients that their party is now formed, and then we start matchmaking. So we'd kick off the matchmaker, which would take this match of this party and then try to match it with a running game server. The matchmaker would find the game server, send this thing back, and people would join the game server. But if 2 people came in at the same time to join this, because we're doing a check and set, we would fetch the party members. We wouldn't be able to add them. There'd be nobody left. We'd try it again. We would add our one person in there. Alright, it could work. And then our party cleanup is literally just, we don't delete parties that join on the party ID. We just remove members that don't exist anymore. And just updated the distributed key cache for parties. Yeah, for all parties with members. I guess we can just do it for all parties, yeah. And then we only have like, we have persistent parties, so we have like 50 parties, and we'll just do this every 30 seconds or something, and that's not a big deal. Alright, so party cleanup otherwise for the app server. This is still kind of nasty. Well, I don't really know anything about West Virginia University since I'm over on the West Coast and don't get over there ever. But I know when I was working in Electronic Arts and BioWare and Amazon and every place, basically either your college mattered or it didn't. If you were an intern, your college didn't matter because, you know, like, interns are interns, you just use them. But people right out of college that we didn't know about, their college mattered, and the big named colleges like CMU really mattered. Otherwise, you just look at the projects they did. So if you're going somewhere, the only recommendation I would have is make sure that there are large projects that you work on, which span like at least like a year, because that's what people are going to care about. They're like, you know, what'd you do? It's like, oh, well, you know, I took a whole bunch of courses and I took, you know, CS, you know, CE 415 or C, you know, whatever. And it's like, all right, that means nothing to me. I don't care. You know, what'd you do? I built this battle bot that went to Vegas and ripped everybody's machines apart. And be like, all right, cool, you're hired. You know, that sort of stuff is what people give a damn about. You know, I built a mechanical arm that could hold a pair of chopsticks and, you know, shove food into somebody's mouth. You know, that's the sort of stuff that translates to the real world. Not, well, I know how to write circuit diagrams. You're like, all right, that's cool. We're trying to build a bridge over here, and we need the robots to do it. Your circuit diagram isn't going to get that bridge built. So how do we translate from the searchable party member into like a party that exists? Like, we have the members, we can all send those. They can all join a party. So all three of those people join a party. Well, we send them a message that says, your search is complete. There are 3 people, and I guess we could say our new party ID is party 5. And they would then all subscribe to party 5 and fetch the data for party 5. The matchmaker would then do its thing. Do we care about the matchmaker finding a match or not? Like, at that point, do we care about the party updating? Like, it's a match, we send it off to the matchmaker and it's going to go do its thing. If people leave, do we cancel the matchmaking for that party? So we could do like a cancel match. But we don't actually need to update the party since it's just there, so I guess we just need the initial party formation. So if a user goes offline, remove them from parties they're subscribed to. How do we know which they're subscribed to? Well, we can just do a delete call. We could also check their sub list and store that in memory. So that'll be all right. So party formation, party transition. So basically the app server. So fetch and delete party members for party. So send party to matchmaking. Send party members matchmaking in progress. Matchmaker finds server. Matchmaker sends message to servers to inform of incoming users. Matchmaker sends messages to users that to start mission. And that's it. So we don't need a distributed key cache for this, do we? Because we're not actually forming parties. Okay, that's good. That's a good thing. We don't have to do that entire fucking system in order to have this work, so we can get rid of the key cache queue. I don't need to make that system yet. Wait. How do we inform people that 2 out of 3 people are joining their party? So if we do a party join, so we are on the app server, we are going to fetch an add member to a party. And I guess we could send party members party information. So we could just have the app server forward the information that they just wrote to all the people. That has a race condition though, because the relay system doesn't, like if 2 people join in 2 different servers, one's going to see 2, one's going to see 3 out of 4. And then like the 2 arrives later, we would want to have like just send that something is updated so the client can kick off a load for each one, and the last load will always work. So send party members a cache bust notification. So they'll want to fetch the parties again. So we do a push-pull model. That way we don't have race conditions on that. All right, works. So we have no key cache. Do we need a matchmaker? Do we actually need a matchmaking service for this? Or can we do all this with the app servers and a server registry? Because we know the parties, and we're not matching parties up with other parties with like some sort of wait and join and leave flow. We're really just doing dynamic dedicated server creation. So we probably don't need a matchmaker. So because they're not actually matching parties. So we can probably cut out that chunk of our architecture as well. So we just have the relay server, which is what we want to do. Okay, so how does this all work? So okay, so dynamic dedicated game server pool. So we're going to need servers that are available and ready to go so that these parties can actually go in there. So let me just check a few things. Oh man, I gotta like make payments on server stuff. Let's go ahead and do that. So we want business account. I'm gonna pay off our business credit card because we need to. Because we're good business member people where we actually pay our bills. Alright. Bills have been paid. Hooray. Alright. So our dynamic dedicated game server pool. So right now, our game servers are being started by our game server watchdog, and they're just sitting there for people to join. So what we need is a dynamic dedicated game server, which is just going to be sitting there. So the game server watchdog, its role should be to have X number of game servers that are sitting there with the game open, but it also needs X number of dedicated game servers, and the dedicated game servers are going to negotiate on their own behalf. So the game server watchdog is not going to dynamically spin up new levels. It'll just make sure something's running in like LV, the LV server level, and then the platform connection that it has there will make it available. So 1 minute. Alright, so our game server watchdog is going to be here. Let's write down what it's actually supposed to do. Game server watchdog is we spin up X number of dedicated game servers, and they sit in the LV server level ready to go. Alright, so we have these kind of this like dynamic game server, and what we want to do is we send a message to inform of incoming users. So we find a server which is available, we message that server saying start load level, and then it needs to come back with that level. Alright, so alright, so we'll just have X number of dynamic game servers. What should this guy do? So this game server, it's basically going to sit here, so it's going to load up LV server, which is going to connect to backend. It's then going to heartbeat its status. So we're going to need a dynamic game server table. Alright, so that's going to be, we're going to have a user ID, like a reported time. We're going to want our QoS. I guess we should have a region in here. And we want like some sort of capacity tag or something like that. Because basically we want to, alright, so like maybe a context. So alright, so we'll have like if it's available. So this thing can just like set itself as being available or not available or whatever. And these guys will heartbeat themselves independently. So heartbeat its status, and so on message load mission, on mission load. Alright, so on message load mission, remove from being available, load mission, send message ready, play mission with users, etc. Transition to new missions as necessary, and mission complete. On mission complete, shut down process. So it'll shut itself down once it's done. And the watchdog will restart. Alright, so we'll do our heartbeat for its status and do all that sort of stuff. And let's do our app server, our GMS cleanup. So this is going to be on the app server. I guess the app master is where this is going to have to exist. It's the app master, and what we want to check is that something is still online, so we're going to read dedicated GMS table and timeout non-reporting games. So shutdown process, delete self from server registry. Watchdog will restart ourselves. Okay, so that is how our game server, dynamic dedicated game server stuff is going to work, basically. That'll do that. So how many game servers we got right now? We got those hex cores, we got 3 of them. We're also going to need a QoS service is what it looks like. So can the game server watchdog do QoS? Like, because what we want, if we're doing dynamic dedicated game servers, we don't want to give you a server in Australia if everybody in the party is in the wrong place. So how do we do this? We're going to need our QoS data here. And QoS stands for quality of service. So how do we do regional quality of service? Well, we're going to load all the party members. We need a QoS ping on something, so what would be the best way to do this? I could register all the servers for QoS, such as all the